Welcome to Doomscroll. I'm Lisa Curry.
Hey, and I'm Matt Sheffield, and we got another news-packed week for you guys. I think we may have the story that, for the first time ever, that Donald Trump might actually have gone too far for people. Which is kind of fucking insane that it's taken this long. But I think this might actually be it. And normally I roll my eyes whenever somebody says something like this. Oh, the people are done with him now. Mm-hmm. But on this one, I feel like this actually might be true.
Maybe, but it depends on Fox News and Newsmax or whatever covering it, right? Wouldn't it? Or News One, or what is the other one called? I don't even remember.
Well, no, you said Fox News, Newsmax, OAN. There
OAN.
are a shitload of these things. There's some other new one now called The First, which
come on.
Yeah, no, they've cropped up like weeds on a lawn. These guys, and yeah. Anyway, but so what the story is, though, is that as if you're a news junkie watching or listening to this show, you probably know by now that Donald Trump has pissed off a lot of veterans because he went and basically filmed a campaign ad in Arlington National Cemetery, which I mean, that's
first of all, there's a law
insane
against it. First of all, but also he's claiming that he didn't, but then they got into a fight with somebody at the cemetery and there was a physical altercation, and now his people are saying, oh, there was no physical altercation, and that person, the person in question was actually mentally ill or like suffering a mental breakdown or something like that.
It's like a mental health episode. Yeah. Which I no, it's like the way that they're trying to defend this also, I think, is what's really problematic for them too, because I mean, everything, as we've said on the show multiple times, like in the right wing nut job worldview, everything is liberally biased. Literally everything. The military, the police, the FBI. Literally everything is liberally biased, not just the media or professors or meanie comedians. Everything is biased. And now apparently the army is liberally biased.
Apparently.
This is just like a fucking incredibly awful thing that he did. Like he did basically wanted to. He filmed a campaign ad. That's what this was, on graves, walking around a grave, and as you said, it is against the law to do that. And normally I think by now we've all realized that nut job Republicans have no respect for the rule of law or
veterans
or like that. Yeah, but yeah, like this. This is something that directly impacts them, or at least people that they know. Like a lot of Republicans have served in the military, and that's something that they finally can understand. Like that's the thing I feel like with Trump is that with Trump, everyone who is Republican thinks that he's a good guy because he hasn't screwed them over personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the core of Republicans. Like.
But even when they do, when he goes somewhere and promises people something, or hasn't he gone into restaurants and promised to pick up all the checks and then he doesn't, or he says he's gonna do all these things to help his followers, or he leaves them out in the sun for hours and they're having sunstroke and they're like, yes, but it's our dear leader, we deserve to be punished. It is psychotic. I think he's going to lose some people. I don't have faith that he's going to lose more than a dozen.
Oh man! Well, you're not as hopeful as me. I don't know. I mean, basically what happened is that he's trying to resurrect the Afghanistan withdrawal as an issue, which like nobody fucking cares about that right now. You know, like everybody.
I think veterans care about that. I think veterans care about that equally because that was a mess and it has led to a lot of other problems.
Yeah, but it was the withdrawal that Trump himself set up, like, and no one thinks that we should be back in Afghanistan. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just a dead issue as far as I'm concerned. And
I don't think so. I think especially amongst veterans and especially amongst veterans of the Afghan war are pissed. I mean, I have friends that served in Afghanistan that said when Biden was still in the race, they were like, we can't vote for him because of the way he pulled out, because he did it in a way that was also a publicity stunt because he wanted to do it by the anniversary of 9/11. So rather than taking more careful steps to pull out, he just wanted to do it in a hurry as a publicity stunt.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it feels like trying to campaign on COVID stuff. Like, people, you might not like what Trump or Biden did about COVID, but it's over. Like, it happened, and anyway. But what feels different though about this though is that this is the first time that actual nonpartisan military groups are out there blasting Trump. Like, that's never happened. And, you know, and it's all, and unlike, you know, because like there were reports initially anonymous of, you know, Trump calling veterans suckers and losers for having died in World War II. You know, and eventually that was explicitly said by his former chief of staff, John Kelly. But, you know, Trump always denied that he said that. But now he's literally on video doing a thumbs up at a gravesite. Like, that's... You can't get away from that visual. Like, that is fucking disgusting.
Matt, do you not go to grave sites and give a thumbs up?
No, I don't.
Do you just you just shoot off streamers and bring balloons?
Take out the barbecue grill and put it over some graves. Yeah, that's basically what he was doing. Like this. It's incredible, and the fact that it was on video, and you know, like it's undeniable that he did this. Like that's what's different, you know, like because multiple people have, you know, said that he doesn't care about veterans and thinks that wounded veterans are, you know, pathetic, and he doesn't want to be around them. But that was all, you know, like just sort of quotes to a reporter. But now we have him, you know, walking around on the grave sites and. Filming campaign ads. Like it's outrageous. And you know, and Alison Jaslow, the CEO of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, she released, I mean, it's pretty stunning statement. She said that there are plenty of places appropriate for politics. Arlington National Cemetery is not one of them. Any aspiring elected official, especially one who hopes to be commander-in-chief, should not be confused about that fact. Nor should they hide behind members of our community to justify politicking on such sacred ground.
It is psychotic. And didn't he, I hope I'm getting this right, as most things I say on here, but didn't he say something to the effect of, like, or his people said, it wasn't a commercial. And it's like, because people accused him of shooting a commercial. And it's like, no, it was a TikTok video. That might, I don't know which one is worse. It's still, which by the way, TikTok is still an ad for him.
His whole account is an ad. Like, what do you think it was? What was it if it wasn't a commercial? Like, and they won't say. And then, you know, and to make matters worse, you know, like in the close-up shot where he was laying a wreath on one of the people who was killed in Afghanistan. And it was that they showed the grave of somebody else who died, and he didn't die in Afghanistan, and his family didn't give permission, wasn't even contacted, and they're pretty upset about it. And you know, like this, I don't know. To me, this opens up all of the things that that Republicans they lie about everything, they deny anything regardless of the facts, and this opens all that back up, you know, and I think. it's making it hard for them to lie. And he did also. You have to add it to the other thing that he said recently, that he was giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to a donor of his, and he was giving some award to a donor of his when he was the president, and then he later recently said that he thought the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is for civilians, is much better than the Congressional Medal of Honor because. Well, a lot of people that get the Congressional Medal of Honor, they're often badly wounded or dead, and they're just in bad shape. Like, they're just tacky. They're just tacky with all their injuries.
It's fucked up to say because I don't. There's no part of me that is glad that he did either of these things because the level of disrespect people are having to feel in the aftermath is awful, and I wouldn't want them to. Being glad that he did this by extension is like being glad that they felt like shit about it, but inevitable that he was going to do something like this, and I'm just glad that I'm glad for the timeline of events that he did them back to back because his followers have collective amnesia, and it's like all of the things he said about disparaging comments he said about the troops and veterans over the last decade, they don't I think they're so far apart that people dismiss one or they don't catch one or whatever, and hopefully the heat from the medal comment carries on to this.
That's what I'm hoping, and I mean, and Kamala Harris, though, ultimately this won't be a thing unless she and her people are hitting it every fucking day because as you said, there's just so much content out there now, and it's easy to miss a news story if you're not paying close attention to it, and so this story has to be inescapable because there's no possible justification for what he did. It's fucking disgusting, and he needs to get pounded for it. So
absolutely. Well, and I hope Kamala's going to have to bring it up at the debates because it sucks. It's really unfortunate how much time of her debate is going to be sucked into refuting things that he has said or calling him out on bullshit like this and not telling us her own plan for the presidency, which is something I would really like to know. Not that I'm going to vote for third party otherwise, but you have to inform your potential constituents. Which one of his recent lies is he's now saying that he's not backing 2025. He doesn't know what it is and all this horse shit when we all know better. And in part of that is him saying that he's going to be great for women and their reproductive rights, which nobody knows what that even means. And he's now apparently calling abortion the A word. This is ridiculous. It is, regardless of his stance on abortion, calling it the A word is insane. And I'm so tired of women's health being this thing that is like taboo to even talk about. It's so frustrating.
Abortion. It's nothing else other than abortion. Women have no other health concerns. It's like, but this is also a great example of that he will say literally anything to get to trick people, and people are very gullible when it comes to him, obviously. But you are a fucking moron if you think Trump is going to be great for women and their reproductive rights, which is what he's saying. This is the guy who's the leader of Christian fascists in America. Don't believe that for 1 second. But there's kind of this crisis going on right now with the fact check people in CNN and New York Times and other places that they're like, if Trump goes and says, oh, well, I won't do this thing, or I will do this thing, they're like, oh, see, he said he wouldn't do it. That means he won't do it. And it's like, you can't take this guy's word on anything. If he told you, if he told you the sun was shining outside, you would have to check it. Everyone would check it if he told you that. And, it's just like, it's I don't know. So, but it is funny though, because, he's always talking about how he's a leader and how he's decisive, but he now won't talk about abortion. In Florida, they're having an abortion rights ballot initiative on the ballot this year, and he won't even say how he's going to vote on it. Mr. Decisive.
It's absolutely psychotic. I would love if we could in the future put up a diagram of women's reproductive organs, and men in Congress can only weigh in, and in politics generally can only weigh in at all if they can identify every part, which they definitely cannot. I guarantee you they cannot. Also, these psychos don't learn, because in addition to, they want all the Planned Parenthood shut down, and they're working on that. And in addition to providing abortion services, Planned Parenthood provides just simple checkups and healthcare for women that can't afford our fucking healthcare system. Planned Parenthood wouldn't exist if we had national healthcare. It just wouldn't, because all they would be able to provide, or all people would seek from them, is abortions. And I don't know if it would be enough to keep the facilities open, because it's not the majority of their business. They also see men for men's health things. And when Mike Pence had all of these Planned Parenthood locations shut down in Indiana when he was governor, and AIDS cases skyrocketed because people weren't getting fucking tested because they can't afford, that's part of the problem. You can shut down the Planned Parenthoods, give us national health care, and we'll get abortions somewhere else. Or there will still be Planned Parenthoods for people to get abortions. But it wouldn't be
fewer abortions, frankly. If people had better access to contraception and
if people had if there was less ignorance around
sex education.
Exactly. Bingo.
Yep. And then in other more humorous political news, looks like RFK Junior, he took too long to quit and give up on the candidacy that everyone knew had no chance on earth of winning. Took him too long to give up and quit and endorse Trump.
Even with that sweet, with the Joe Rogan endorsement that he got.
Yeah, I know, right? But he took so long to quit and asked to be taken off of ballots that his name is still going to be on the ballot in Michigan and Colorado. And so I actually think a lot of people who would think of voting for him are still going to vote for him because they don't know that he dropped out.
Yeah, I don't think they're keyed into much that's going on. But that is hilarious that he's still going to take votes from Trump.
Yeah, it is a perfect irony that a guy who is obsessed with eating carrion is running a zombie presidential campaign.
It's pretty great. I love it. Yeah. So, for everyone who caught the video of JD Vance going to the donut shop, and first of all, asking probably minimum wage, definitely hourly workers, how long have you worked here? That's all he had to say to anyone. How long have you worked here? How long have you worked here? No, nobody wants to fucking reminisce on how long they've worked their shitty job that they hate. But now he's saying, even though the interactions were on camera, he's saying that the woman at the donut shop was terrified to have him there. And she's very clearly annoyed with his excitement over running for vice president and could give a fuck less about his photo opportunity there.
Oh yeah. No, it was he was like, I'm running for vice president. Okay. That's not the word of somebody who's terrified. That's somebody who doesn't like your ass. Is what that is.
It's like if you're, you know what it reminds me of? Years ago, I was on I was headlining this comedy festival in the Yukon up in Canada. So I'm on the flight, on the Alaska Air flight to the festival, and I open up the in-flight magazine, and there's a photo of me in there, and I was so excited. And I turned to the girl next to me, and I was like, "That's me," and she goes, "Okay."
That is funny.
And she like barely glanced at it, definitely didn't even bother to look up at me, and I was like, "Oh." Real humbling moment here. I don't think she was scared to have me sitting next to her. I think she was like,
why are you talking to me?
like, cool, I'm watching The Office. Shut up. I don't care.
Yeah. No, it's just like, I don't know. This is like, he just keeps compounding the weirdness. Like, that's what, like, yeah, you understood that this woman was not impressed and did not give a fuck. And, and J.D. Vance does not understand that. And so he's just, I love that they're trying to save face in the most ridiculous and self-incriminating ways. Like, please do more things like this, J.D. Vance. Please. We need it.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite app to find Nazis, Twitter, is being flooded now with fake MAGA beauty influencer accounts using stolen photos from European women. No surprise there. No surprise at all. Top to bottom. The whole story.
Yeah, it's like, so this was a story that was reported by CNN this weekend. You should definitely read it. It is really, really quite bizarre. I mean, it's such a trip because they found women who were in Europe, live in Europe, and they were posting on Instagram primarily in whatever language they happen to speak, and people were stealing their photos and then posting them to American targeted Twitter and altering them. So, like, one of the women in the pics that they showed, she was wearing a black baseball hat. And whoever stole her photo put "Make America Great" on her hat. And I mean, that's got to be so incredibly trippy to see your own image posting in another language saying complete horrible bullshit. Like, that's got to be
insane. I won't. And I wonder what the recourse is for that. For her, like, what can she even do? I mean, how are you going to track down?
Think she can do anything. They can't. Yeah, these are dozens of women that this happened to. Twitter did not reveal who was doing this.
Of course,
but
not.
They weren't. It doesn't look like they were trying to scam people, like take their money or something. Although there was one little wrinkle with that, and that is that some of them were using donate to Donald Trump links. And I have to imagine that they had a referral code so that they got a piece of that money. Whoever put the link up. And, and I'd have to imagine that it was some 40, I don't know, some obese Eastern European man who was running these accounts, or something Russian, who knows. But I don't know, like, this is another example, though, of just how desperate that Republicans are in the United States. They want to really believe that they're normal and attractive and smart. And they're none of those things.
It is, yeah, and it is.
And like MAGA men, yeah, like they think that women like them. And sorry, guys, they don't.
It is also like a commentary, I think, on the state of where men and boys are right now, with like people like Andrew Tate and all these psychos online, that the fake MAGA accounts. And their whole selling point for MAGA is like hot women are MAGA. So, meaning they're trying to court more men because they think that that's something they can do, is lure them in. You notice there's no, they don't have any hot men that are fake accounts that are like, hey, ladies. Because women are like just not in a place where they feel like they need men right now. Overall, nationally, we're just kind of like, okay, well, we're gonna do our own thing if you're gonna be psychos. Where men are like, women won't pay attention to me, and that's because you're fucking sluts and bitches or whatever.
Meanwhile, I'm a MAGA woman in a bikini, and I want to talk to you about how great Donald Trump is. Like, if you can't see that that's a scam, you are a fucking moron. Just look at the fucking look at the stats, man. It's just obvious. But go ahead.
I have a cousin who he's a second cousin. He's 70, and he is on the apps, and he thinks he's getting not the dating apps. He's on like social media apps. Sorry, and he's getting these bots that are like, oh, hey, I would love to spend time with you, and it's like some like 20-year-old porn actress or whatever, like a fake 20-year-old porn actress. And my cousin, his daughter's trying to explain to him like, hey, these are like, do not send these women money, because he's like, oh, well, she just needs $50 or whatever. And my cousin is like, no, this isn't real. And it's heartbreaking.
It's not even a person.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking because he feels, it's you don't want to hear that this hot person is not into you. You don't want to hear that. But it's also like so egregious that like, buddy, you are a broke as fuck 70-year-old man who doesn't take care of your human body. There's not some woman somewhere across the country that's like, oh my God. Like, it's so funny because I find that is very true of men's brains, where they no man thinks any woman is out of his league. And I'll say, I shouldn't say no man. Most men don't think there's any woman that is out of their league. Like, most men think, if only Cindy Crawford met me, she would date me. And that is, I'm really dating myself with that reference. Where women...
I was going to say, there's probably a lot of men in their early 20s that wouldn't know who that was.
I love Cindy Crawford so much. Where, like, women will see some man that is, like, again, dating myself, Brad Pitt. And there's not any part of these women that think, like, oh, he's gonna... If I just met him... they might have like a little fantasy of like, ooh, what if I did, and what if this, but they don't think like that's definitely the outcome of me meeting Brad Pitt.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, so sorry everyone.
I think that's probably true, and it's even worse though for these MAGA men though, because I mean, you look at the polling statistics, and women under I guess the typical breakdown is like 18 to 30. Like, so women under 30 are one of the most strongly Democratic voting groups in America. Like, solidly, overwhelmingly Democratic. And so they, it's like, this is like a double fantasy on top of that. So not only are they deluding themselves to think that some, 20-something, hot woman is interested in them, and she agrees with their political views. Like, it's like fantasy on top of fantasy. It's awful, but but that's why this shit works. That's why it works. Like, I'm sure whoever is running this stuff, if they were trying to sell stuff, they probably were making lots of money from suckers.
Absolutely.
Of course, it happened on Twitter. And they were verified with their blue check because, that means they're real. That means they're real.
Of course it does.
For Twitter. And we do have one more Trump-related story to come back to, and that is that speaking of scams running by scam people, there is the news that Donald Trump is selling another batch of NFT trading cards. Can you believe it? That's amazing stuff. And he's this time he's selling a piece of his suit. They cut up his suit and are selling it, giving you a piece.
My God. Well, allegedly his suit. Allegedly his suit.
Allegedly his suit. Yeah, true, allegedly. But anyway, yes, they're literally giving you a piece of cloth. So here we go.
I'm doing a new series of Trump digital trading cards. You all know what they are. We've had a lot of fun with them. It's called the America First Collection. 50 all-new stunning digital trading cards. It's really something. These cards show me dancing and even me holding some bitcoins. Here's the best part. I'm doing great things for my Trump digital card collectors. First, there's the real physical Trump cards. Purchase 15 or more of my Trump digital trading cards and we'll mail you a beautiful physical trading card. It's really, I think, quite something. Each physical trading card has an authentic piece of my suit that I wore for the presidential debate, and people are calling it the knockout suit. I don't know about that, but that's what they're calling it. So we'll cut up the knockout suit, and you're going to get a piece of it, and we'll be randomly autographing 5 of them, a true collector's item. This is something to give your family, your kids, your grandchildren. Number 2 is to purchase 75 of my Trump digital trading cards, and you will also be invited to join me for a gala dinner at my beautiful country club in Jupiter, Florida. We really have tremendous dinners with my collectors. Have a lot of fun together. We're going to have a good time.
Oh, my God. Now I see why you really wanted to keep this in here, because that is
yes.
that shit. That shit.
It's insane.
Wait, so and these are NFTs, so they're not even physical things?
No, like the only way you can get a physical trading card is if you buy like 7 or something like that.
So part of the selling point is that it has a piece of cloth attached to it. But then
only if you buy a whole buttload of it. Yes, so like
only if you spend $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000. And then you get a piece of cloth. Like, it's just incredible. Like, Donald Trump, he really does illustrate the truth of that phrase. There's a sucker born every minute. Like, and they're all voting for Donald Trump. Is what it looks like to me.
Wow. Yeah, they certainly are. They certainly are.
Yeah. Yep. So, and last time he was selling these NFT cards, they were using stolen images from clip art places and Getty Images and places like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if this batch is using stolen images.
The thing is with using all the stolen images and using people's faces that aren't endorsing him and just doing all these things in the Arlington National Cemetery video.
Mm-hmm.
By the time anyone catches up with him, it's like his crimes are like whack-a-mole, where he's not going to be caught for all of these things. He's not going to be dinged for all of these things. It's too many. And there's other things that are more serious that he's also going to get away with because he appointed so many judges. And it's like, there's no consequences for him. And also in the meantime, his fans aren't following up on the legal ramifications or the legal aftermath of this. They're just saying like, oh, he's at the cemetery and that's great. He's giving a thumbs up. Like, I think they're not even clocking that it's bad. I think his fans seeing him at Arlington are thinking like, he's visiting graves. That's good. They're too fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, definitely there's, that may be the majority of them, but I feel like it's definitely the case that there are unfortunately still some people who are smart who like Donald Trump, and I know some of them, but they wall themselves off from this shit. Like because like if you look at Fox News or something, they don't cover this stuff because like you cannot. I'm sorry, but like most people, unless you're just the most ridiculously stupid Trump simp, most people, if you look at that video, you're like, this guy's a scammer. I mean, it's so fucking obvious when you look at that, which is why right-wing media doesn't show this shit to their audience and talk about it in any sort of negative way, because they also know that he's a scammer. But they're scammers too. Like that's the worst thing about the right-wing ecosystem, is that it's just like layers and layers of people preying on each other and taking advantage of each other. It's so fucked up. And like, you almost want to feel sorry for them, but on the other hand, you do kind of enjoy that at least they're wasting their money on this shit instead of donating it to their candidates.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, anyway, so I'm sure the value of that shit's going to go down. That reminds me. Sorry, one last thing I forgot to put in our list is that Trump's Truth Social stock it went public a few months ago, and it has lost nearly all of the value that it did now before it went public. And so, like, all of these morons, they just keep getting used by him. And like,
it's so good.
Yeah, like I'm glad that they're wasting their money on this shit rather than something that would actually
less money to spend on guns.
There you go. Yeah. So, hey, go buy some more Trump NFTs, guys, please.
Also, like, less money to live generally. So maybe they'll get madder about income inequality. Maybe they'll start to get madder about billionaires and stuff like that, because these people are going to have spent all their money on Trump NFTs, which NFTs are the biggest scam. I will always say that the biggest scam in the last decade. It's unbelievable. And people saying like, oh, you have a digital footprint. The reason a Van Gogh is so pricey is because he physically touched it. It's a physical thing you can put in your house. It's not just something that's on your computer. How do you show anybody anything that's on your computer? You don't. It's a file.
Yeah.
You can't enjoy it, really.
Yeah.
So Chappell Roan, I'm going to say her name wrong, who absolutely exploded recently. I mean, there's a video going around of her performing in Central Park or something like that, somewhere in New York. Listen, maybe it was Washington Square Park. I don't remember, guys. Of her performing for like 20 people, and she's busking, to then performing for like 100,000 people or something crazy like that at some big concert, or 50,000 people, whatever the fuck it was. And she has exploded with a couple of singles, and she is one of, this younger generation's. She's speaking out in the same way a lot of people in her generation are speaking out against just bad behavior generally. And she posted a video saying like, hey, just because I'm famous doesn't mean you own my time. It doesn't mean I owe you a hug. She's like, it's fucking weird that fans think I should just have to hug them, or I should have to engage with them. She's like, I'm also a person. I'm not always on the clock. If you see me at the grocery store, leave me alone. And I love that she said that, because Taylor Swift had some guy put his hand up her shirt or upper skirt or something like that. And Jim Jeffries, he still does meet and greets, but a fan years ago gave him something like chiggers or scabies. It wasn't either of those. It was some other kind of like weird bug that came off of them after a meet and greet. I know, like, listen, I don't even know what the fuck chiggers are. It just makes me laugh. And so I say it all the time. I refuse to look it up. I like living in ignorance. So yeah, it is fucking weird behavior, the way people act around celebrities. I mean, I've seen it a lot as a celebrity myself. And you do feel this weird obligation when people like want to hug you or touch you or engage with you. I mean, like I call it, if you give a mouse a cookie. Are you familiar with that children's book, Matt? Where, for anybody listening, it's like,
way.
If you...
I am definitely not. As the father of 2 daughters, no.
Listen, I don't know. I don't know if that's like just from my childhood, but the whole story is, if you give a mouse a cookie, then he's going to want a glass of milk. And if you give him a glass of milk, then he's going to want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or whatever the fuck it is. I don't remember how it goes, but it just goes on and on and on, where like takeaway is you can't give anyone any fucking thing, because then they're going to ask for more and more and more.
Which is kind of selfish, actually, but
yeah,
go ahead.
It is a cute story. But I refer to this, like interacting specifically with men, I refer to it as an if you give a mouse a cookie scenario, because I'll have fans, some of them will message me and I'll reply, like they're like, hey, great episode of Doomscroll, whatever. And I'll reply and be like, thanks so much. But they see that as like, now we can have a conversation. And then it becomes like, where do you live? What are your parents like? What's your favorite color? And it's like, fuck. Like, some very few people have the ability to continue to be normal if you allow them into your space a little bit. And so I agree with her.
Definitely common. Yeah, it's definitely kind of common. And I will say, I did have when I was at the Democratic National Convention, I did have somebody come up to me while I was sitting there in my hotel, and they're like, but they didn't realize it was me at first. They're like, "Are you James Lindsay? Who is this atheist dipshit?" And I was like, "Hell no, I'm not James Lindsay. That's not me." I said it nicer than that, though. But yes, I definitely don't want to be mistaken for him. And then she was like, "Oh, wait a second. Are you Matthew Sheffield?" And I was like,
you're like, yes, me. There we are.
And then she was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm sorry I bothered you." And I was like, "Hey, well, as long as you don't think I'm James Lindsay, it's okay."
And that's really funny. I've had people, I used to, years ago, when we both looked a little bit different, I had people think I was Amy Schumer constantly. I was at an open mic one night, and some guy was like, "Are you?" Okay. He's like acting all nervous, and he goes, "Are you?" And I go, "Amy Schumer?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "No." You think Amy Schumer, she has her own TV show. You think she's at an open mic with your stupid ass? Like, I had somebody have like a complete fan meltdown at me one time, and he was like on the verge of tears, and I was like, I kept trying to cut him off, and I was like, "Buddy," and he's like, "I loved you on the roast," and I'm like, "Not me."
Oh man, yeah. So I mean, like all of that stuff in isolation or once in a while, like it's kind of funny and like for us, I guess. But I have to imagine, yeah, when you're her, it's probably never ending. You know, like that's that. No one would like that. If you go anywhere in public and people are like, hey.
It's so weird. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying not to give away too many details here. I met Brad Pitt a few years ago. He was at a show that I was on, and he, not to brag, but he did say I'm hilarious. He said it multiple times. But there were people like standing around acting like they weren't doing anything when they were secretly taking photos of him. And it's like, buddy, we can see that you're secretly taking photos of him. Also, it's like you're treating him not like a person. You're treating him like he's a piece of furniture. And that is weird. Someone can feel when you're standing around staring at them. They know it.
Yeah, they can. And that is our last story of the day. So, and you can know more if you follow us on social media and go to @Doomscroll Show on your places. And you can also get me at Matt Sheffield. Although on Instagram I couldn't take Matt Sheffield, so I had did a Trump reference and I did real Matt Sheffield because there are no other ones.
And you can follow me, and please do, on Instagram at Olympian Lisa Curry. That is where you can find me.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this one, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.